He was a rich CEO with high standards, until a funny cashier changed everything. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories like this one. Your support truly means the world to us. And tell us, where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. It is just past 9 in the evening when he steps inside the grocery store. The automatic doors slide open with a soft, mechanical sigh, releasing a wave of fluorescent light and the quiet hum of refrigerators. This is not his world, not even close. The polished marble floors, the glass towers, the private elevators he is used to feel 1,000 miles away. Tonight, he is dressed in faded jeans, a plain gray hoodie, and scuffed sneakers. No watch, no tailored jacket, no driver waiting outside. To anyone watching, he looks like just another man who wandered in after work, tired, slightly out of place, and unsure of what aisle he is supposed to be in. But this man is not ordinary. He is a billionaire chief executive officer, the kind who runs board meetings that decide the future of thousands of employees, the kind who has dated women whose faces appear on magazine covers and billboards in Times Square, the kind who has always believed that excellence requires perfection, even in love. And yet, here he is, standing in front of a shelf of breakfast cereal, staring at dozens of brightly colored boxes like they are written in a foreign language. He picks one up, puts it back, picks up another, frowns. He has not shopped for himself in years. At the end of aisle 5, a young woman watches him struggle, her elbows resting on the checkout counter. She has been working the late shift since 3 in the afternoon. Her feet ache, her stomach growls, but her eyes are still sharp, and her sense of humor is still very much alive. She notices the way he keeps checking the overhead signs, the way he walks in small circles, then stops, then starts again. Finally, when he reaches her register with only 2 random items in his basket, she cannot help herself. She smiles. Not the polite, forced smile of customer service training. A real one. Excuse me, she says lightly. Are you lost, or are you just exploring the store for fun? He freezes for half a second. No one has spoken to him like that in years. Not assistants, not investors, not the women who usually laugh a little too hard at his jokes. He clears his throat. Is it that obvious? She laughs, a short, warm laugh that cuts through the sterile quiet of the store. A little. You walked past the same aisle 3 times. He glances back, then shrugs. I do not usually shop for myself. That explains everything, she says, scanning his items. You look like someone who is used to other people doing things for him. He raises an eyebrow, surprised. Is that a compliment or an insult? She grins. I have not decided yet. For the first time all day, he feels something unexpected. Not attraction, not desire, relief. She does not know who he is. She does not care. She is not impressed. She is not trying to be. To her, he is just a man who looks slightly lost under bad lighting, holding the wrong cereal. And as she hands him his receipt, she adds casually, next time, if you need help, just ask. Grocery stores can be overwhelming for beginners. He nods, smiling despite himself. I will keep that in mind. As he walks out into the cool night air, receipt crumpled in his hand, one thought settles quietly in his chest. For the first time in a long time, someone saw him without seeing his status, and he cannot stop thinking about it. He does not go home right away. Instead, he sits in his car for a long moment, the grocery store lights reflecting faintly on the windshield. The plastic bag rests on the passenger seat, untouched. He exhales slowly, fingers still curled around the steering wheel, replaying the interaction in his mind. Are you lost? The question was simple, almost careless, and yet it lingers. For most of his adult life, people have approached him with an agenda. They knew his name before they knew his voice. They studied his preferences, mirrored his opinions, laughed a second too late or a second too early. Even romance had become a transaction, carefully curated and painfully predictable. Models, influencers, socialites, beautiful, polished, and distant. He had told himself that high standards were necessary, that success required selectiveness. that emotional detachment was simply the price of leadership. But standing at that checkout counter, being spoken to like a normal man who did not know where the cereal aisle was, something inside him shifted. It was unsettling. The next morning, he wakes before dawn in his penthouse overlooking the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows, quiet luxury, a view people would kill for. And yet, as he pours himself a cup of coffee, his mind drifts somewhere far less impressive. A grocery store, fluorescent lights, a woman in a simple uniform who smiled without trying to impress him. He shakes his head, almost annoyed with himself. At 9 sharp, he is seated at the head of a long conference table. Screens light up. Executives greet him with measured respect. Numbers are discussed. Decisions are made. Entire futures are adjusted with a nod of his head. But he is not fully there. When the meeting ends, his assistant hands him his schedule for the day. Dinners, calls, a charity gala in the evening. All familiar, all controlled. He pauses. "Clear my evening," he says calmly. She looks surprised. "Everything?" "Yes." By 7 that night, he finds himself back in the same grocery store parking lot. This time, he parks farther away. Inside, the store is quieter. The after-work rush has passed. The shelves are half-stocked. The air hums with the low sound of cleaning machines in the distance. She is there again. Same register. Same tired but alert posture, same effortless presence. She looks up and recognizes him immediately. "Well, look who survived his first shopping trip," she says, smiling. "Did you manage breakfast?" He lets out a small laugh before he can stop himself. "Barely." She scans his items, glancing at the bag. "You did better this time. Fewer questionable choices." "I had guidance," he replies. "From a professional." She raises an eyebrow. "That will be $5 for consulting." He shakes his head. "That feels overpriced." "Welcome to inflation," she says dryly. They talk while she works. Nothing important. The weather, the late shift, how the store rearranged the aisles for no good reason. She complains lightly about customers who insist on exact change at 10 minutes to closing. He listens, really listens. And for the first time in years, he does not feel the need to impress or explain himself. He notices small things. The way she thanks every customer, even the rude ones. The way she straightens a crooked display when no one is watching. The way her humor softens the sharp edges of exhaustion. She does not ask what he does for a living. She does not ask his last name. She does not ask anything that would give her leverage. As he leaves, she calls out, "Same time tomorrow, or are you graduating to advanced shopping?" He pauses at the door. "I might need another lesson." She smiles. "I will try to keep it simple." Walking back to his car, he realizes something uncomfortable. This was not supposed to happen. He came here to observe, to test, to confirm that kindness still existed when status was removed. But somewhere between aisle 5 and the checkout counter, the test stopped being controlled. And for the first time in a long time, that scares him. The next evening, she notices him before he reaches the register. It is subtle, a half-second pause. A glance that lingers just long enough to register recognition. Then she looks back down at her screen, fingers moving as she finishes with the customer in front of her. To her, he is becoming familiar, not important, not special, just familiar. And that, more than anything else, unsettles him. Her name tag reads Emily. He did not notice it the first time. She is working another long shift, hair pulled back, sleeves rolled slightly above her wrists. There is a small crack in the plastic edge of her name tag, taped carefully from behind. It catches the light when she moves. When it is his turn, she looks up and smiles again. "You are back," she says. "I was starting to think you gave up and ordered delivery like everyone else." "I considered it," he replies honestly, "but I thought I should practice." "Brave choice," she says. "What is on the lesson plan tonight?" He glances down at his basket. Dinner. Something that does not come from a box. Her eyes widen slightly, impressed despite herself. Ambitious. For a beginner. As she scans his items, their conversation drifts, unforced and easy. She tells him she usually works closing shifts because they pay a little more. He nods, absorbing every word, even the ones most people would dismiss as small talk. What he does not say is that he has not heard anyone speak this honestly to him in years. Emily does not hide her tiredness, but she does not complain either. She jokes about customers who argue over coupons. She rolls her eyes at the store radio that plays the same songs every night. She laughs at her own stories, not caring if anyone else joins in. And still, she does not ask him who he is. That night, when he leaves, he notices something else. She says, "Drive safe." Not because she has to, because she means it. The following days follow a quiet pattern. He returns to the store, sometimes with an excuse, sometimes without one. Sometimes he buys groceries, sometimes he buys nothing at all. Emily never questions it. She never assumes. To her, he is simply a man who stops by after work, a regular. And in her world, regulars matter more than important people. Between customers, she talks about her life in pieces, never all at once, never dramatically. She mentions her rent going up, her sister who lives out of state, her plan to save enough money to take a class next year, though she has not decided what kind yet. He listens, feeling something tighten in his chest. In his world, people announce dreams loudly. They brand them, monetize them, turn them into leverage. Emily speaks of hers like fragile things, kept close and protected. One night, a man in a suit snaps at her for taking too long. He taps his watch, sighs loudly, and mutters something under his breath. Emily apologizes calmly and finishes the transaction without reacting. When the man leaves, she exhales and shrugs. Some people carry their stress into the store with them. He watches her closely. "Does it not bother you?" She considers the question. "Sometimes, but it is not really about me, is it?" The answer hits him harder than he expects. Later, in his car, he sits longer than usual, hands resting in his lap instead of on the wheel. This was supposed to be an experiment, a controlled test. He wanted to know if kindness still existed when money was removed from the equation. He wanted proof that authenticity was not a myth. But Emily is not a data point. She is a person. And the more time he spends with her, the more dangerous the line between observation and attachment becomes. He tells himself he can stop any time. He tells himself this is still under control, but deep down, he knows the truth. The moment she treated him like a nobody, something inside him began to wake up, and he is no longer sure he wants to go back to sleep. By the end of the week, his visits are no longer accidental. They are intentional. He learns the rhythm of the store the way he once learned market cycles. Slow afternoons, short bursts of chaos near dinner time, quiet, almost peaceful stretches after 9, when the aisles feel wider and the noise fades into a soft mechanical hum. Emily notices the pattern too, though she does not comment on it. One evening, he arrives with nothing in his hands. No basket, no list, just himself. She looks up, puzzled. "No groceries today?" "I think I am just here to talk," he says, then adds quickly, "if that is allowed." She studies him for a second, then smiles. "As long as you do not block the line." There is no line. He leans casually against the counter, careful not to cross an invisible boundary. He asks her what time her shift ends. She tells him. He asks if she likes working nights. She shrugs. "It is quieter," she says. "People are more honest when they are tired." That sentence stays with him. A few minutes later, an older woman struggles with heavy bags. Without being asked, Emily steps out from behind the register to help her load them into a cart. She laughs gently when the woman apologizes for being slow. "No rush," Emily says. "We all move at our own pace." He watches from a distance. In boardrooms, kindness is strategic, measured, often performative. Here, it is instinctive. When Emily returns, she notices him still standing there. "You look like you are thinking very hard." "I am," he admits. "Dangerous," she says. "Thinking too much is how people forget to live." He smiles. "Do you always give life advice to customers?" "Only the ones who look like they need it," she replies. Over the next few days, the line between customer and conversation blurs further. They talk about food. He admits he cannot cook. She teases him, then offers simple suggestions, nothing fancy, just things that taste like home. They talk about the city. He pretends to be unfamiliar with parts of it he actually owns. She points out parks, diners, places she likes because they are quiet and unpretentious. He never corrects her. One night, a sudden rush hits the store. A delivery issue. A register freezes. Customers grow impatient. Emily stays calm. She apologizes when needed, redirects when necessary, keeps her voice steady even when someone raises theirs. At one point, a customer snaps, "Can you hurry up?" Emily meets his eyes and says evenly, "I am moving as fast as I can." Thank you for your patience." No anger, no submission, just dignity. Something in his chest tightens again. After the rush passes, he finally speaks. "You handle pressure well." She shrugs. "Everyone has something heavy. This is just mine right now." "Do you ever wish for more?" he asks. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. "I wish for enough money, enough time, enough space to figure out what comes next." It is not ambition the way he understands it. It is survival, softened by hope. As he leaves that night, he realizes something critical. This was supposed to be a test of character, but the longer this continues, the less he feels like the one in control. Emily is not trying to impress him. She is not performing kindness. She is simply being herself, and without meaning to, she is dismantling everything he once believed about standards, status, and what actually matters. The undercover part was supposed to protect him. Instead, it is exposing him. And for the first time, he wonders what will happen when the truth finally steps out from behind the mask. Something changes after that. Not all at once, not dramatically, but enough for him to notice. He begins to look forward to the end of the day in a way that has nothing to do with success or control. Meetings still fill his schedule, decisions still carry weight, but now there is a quiet marker in his mind. A moment he counts down to without admitting it to himself. The grocery store. Emily. One evening, she is quieter than usual. Her smile appears, but it does not fully reach her eyes. He notices immediately, though he pretends not to. He places his basket on the counter and waits until she looks up. "Long day?" he asks. She exhales softly. Something like that. She scans his items more slowly than usual. He does not rush her. After a moment, she speaks again. "My manager cut my hours for next week. Says business is unpredictable." "I am sorry," he says, and means it. She shrugs, trying to brush it off. "It happens. I will figure it out." He wants to ask more. He wants to offer help, but he does not, because he knows that any offer from him, even a small one, could tilt the balance, and he is terrified of what that would reveal. Instead, he listens. She talks about budgeting, about choosing between things she wants and things she needs, about learning how to stretch meals without feeling like she is failing at life. Her honesty is quiet, unembellished. He feels something unfamiliar settle in his chest. Guilt. Not because he has more than her. He has always had more than most people. But because for the first time, he is sitting across from someone whose struggles are real, immediate, and invisible to the world that caters to him. And she is handling them with grace. A few days later, he brings her something small. A simple coffee, still warm, placed gently on the counter during her break. "I was not sure what you liked," he says carefully, "so I guessed." She looks at it, surprised, then at him. "You did not have to do that." "I know," he replies. "I wanted to." She hesitates, then smiles. "Thank you." It is a small moment, but it feels bigger than any grand gesture he has ever made. Over time, their conversations grow longer. They talk about values, about trust, about how people show who they are in moments when no one is watching. Emily tells him she believes character is revealed in how someone treats people who cannot offer them anything in return. He feels exposed, because that belief cuts too close to the truth. He has spent years surrounded by admiration that always came with conditions. Power attracts loyalty, but rarely sincerity. With Emily, there are no conditions. She does not dress differently when he arrives. She does not adjust her tone. She does not ask him for anything beyond conversation, and that makes him want to give her everything. One night, as he walks back to his car, his phone vibrates. A message from his assistant, a reminder of the gala coming up. A list of names that matter, a world that expects him to step back into place. He stares at the screen longer than necessary. For the first time, the life he built feels heavier than the one he is pretending to live. He realizes then that this is no longer an experiment. He is not observing kindness. He is experiencing connection, and connection, real connection, comes with risk. The longer he stays silent, the deeper the eventual betrayal will cut. Because he knows the truth now. Every laugh, every shared glance, every quiet conversation at the checkout counter is being built on a lie he is choosing to maintain. He tells himself he will reveal the truth soon. Tomorrow, maybe. But tomorrow comes, and he walks into the store again, drawn by the same warmth, the same unguarded presence. And as Emily smiles at him, completely unaware of the world he belongs to, he understands the real danger. Not that she will find out who he is, but that when she does, she may never look at him the same way again. The reveal does not happen the way he imagined. It is not quiet, it is not private, and it is not gentle. It happens on a Thursday evening, the night of the charity gala his assistant had reminded him about all week. An event he usually attends without thinking. A room full of donors, cameras, polite applause, and familiar faces. A world he knows how to survive in. He tells himself he will stop by the store first, just for a moment, just to see her. Emily is finishing up a rush when he arrives. Her hair is slightly messier than usual, her smile more tired. When she sees him, it still appears, instinctively. "Hey," she says, "you are early today." "Something like that," he replies. They exchange a few words, light and familiar. Nothing feels different yet, and for a brief, foolish moment, he wonders if he could delay the truth again. But then his phone vibrates. Not a message, a call. His assistant. He silences it. Emily notices. "Important?" "Yes," he admits. "I have to go somewhere." She nods. "Well, good luck, wherever it is." He hesitates, then says, "Maybe I will see you later." She smiles. "I am here until closing." An hour later, Emily steps off her shift early. Her manager waves her out, telling her to enjoy the rare free evening. She pulls on her jacket and walks toward the bus stop across the street, phone in hand. That is when she sees him again, but this time, she almost does not recognize him. A black car idles at the curb. A driver steps out, opening the door, and standing beside the car is a man in a tailored suit, posture straight, expression composed. Him. The hoodie is gone, the scuffed sneakers replaced with polished shoes. His presence is different now, sharper, heavier. Surrounded by people who clearly know who he is, Emily slows, confusion knitting her brows. Then she hears it. "Sir, they are waiting for you inside," the driver says. "Sir." She stops walking. Her phone buzzes with a news notification. A headline flashes across the screen, half seen, half understood. She looks up again. The pieces fall into place too quickly, too cruelly. Her chest tightens. He turns and sees her. For a split second, his face betrays him. Recognition, guilt, fear. They hold each other's gaze across the sidewalk, the distance between them suddenly vast. Emily takes a step forward. "Is that you?" she asks quietly. He nods. There is no point lying now. "Yes." "You are..." She struggles to finish the sentence. "A chief executive officer," he says. "Yes." The words land hard. Everything replays in her mind. Every conversation, every smile, every moment she thought was simple and real. "So that was what this was," she says, her voice steady but cold. "An experiment?" "No," he says immediately. "It started that way, but it stopped being that." She laughs once, sharply. "You let me talk about my rent, my hours, my life, and you never thought to tell me who you were." "I was afraid," he says. "Afraid that the moment you knew, everything would change." Her eyes shine, but she does not cry. It changed anyway. People begin to stare. Someone recognizes her from the store. Someone else recognizes him from the news. Emily takes a step back. "You do not get to decide when honesty is convenient," she says. "I treated you like a person because I thought that was all you were letting me see." "I wanted you to see me," he replies. "Not my money, not my status. And I wanted the truth," she says softly, "from the beginning." She turns away. As she walks toward the bus stop, he calls her name once. She does not turn back. That night, the gala proceeds as planned. Speeches are given. Donations are announced. Applause fills the room. But he barely hears it. All he can see is the moment her expression changed. The moment kindness met deception. And he knows now that no amount of wealth can undo what honesty could have prevented. The days that follow are quiet. Too quiet. He does not return to the grocery store, not because he does not want to, but because he knows showing up again would not be kindness. It would be pressure. And after everything he took without permission, the last thing he has the right to do is demand her presence. Emily, meanwhile, keeps working. She switches shifts, avoids aisle 5, avoids the front windows that face the street where she first saw the truth. She does her job well, just as she always has. But something in her is closed now, not broken, guarded. At night, when the store empties and the lights feel harsher, the conversations replay in her head, the jokes, the advice, the way she spoke freely because she believed she was unseen and unjudged. She feels foolish for that, not because she was kind, but because she trusted someone who chose not to trust her back. Across the city, he sits alone in his office long after everyone else has left. The gala photos circulate online. Headlines praise his generosity. Commentators call him visionary, disciplined, admirable. None of it reaches him. He keeps hearing her voice. I wanted the truth, from the beginning. He replays every moment, every choice he made to stay silent. He tells himself he had reasons. Fear, curiosity, self-protection. They all sound hollow now. A week passes before he sees her again. It is not planned. He is walking out of a small neighborhood cafe, dressed simply, no driver in sight, when he notices her across the street. She is carrying a bag of groceries, shoulders slightly hunched against the cold. He stops. She keeps walking. He calls her name once, softly, not commanding, not urgent. Emily slows, then turns. There is no surprise on her face, only caution. I am not here to explain, he says immediately, or to fix anything. I just wanted to apologize, properly. She studies him, weighing the distance between them. You already apologized, she says. That does not undo the choice. I know, he replies. I am not asking you to forgive me. Then what are you asking for? She asks. Nothing, he says. I needed you to hear this without an audience, without power. I was wrong to turn your life into a test. You deserved honesty, not observation. Her jaw tightens. You do not get credit for realizing that after, she says. I was not a lesson. I was a person. He nods. I know that now. Silence stretches between them. Cars pass. People move around them, unaware of the weight hanging in the air. Emily finally speaks again. Do you know what hurt the most? He waits. Not that you were rich, she says, but that you saw my kindness and still decided I could not handle the truth. The words land heavier than anger. He swallows. You are right. She exhales slowly. I meant what I said back there. I treated you like a person because I thought that was all you were letting me be to you. I cannot pretend that did not matter. I would never ask you to, he says. She looks at him then, really looks at him, stripped of context and illusion. I need distance, she says. Not because I hate you, but because I respect myself. He steps back, creating space. I understand. She turns to leave, then pauses. For what it is worth, she adds, the person you were when you thought no one important was watching. That part was real. Then she walks away. He does not follow. He stands there long after she is gone, realizing something painful and necessary. Love cannot be tested without being damaged. Trust cannot grow in secrecy. And redemption does not begin with grand gestures or second chances. It begins with respecting the choice of the person you hurt, even when that choice costs you everything you hope to gain. He does not try to see her again, not at the store, not on the street, not through messages delivered by someone else. Instead, he changes the only thing he truly has control over, himself. The first step is quiet. He calls his assistant and cancels a series of public appearances. No announcements, no press releases. He steps away from visibility, not to disappear, but to listen, to notice the parts of his world he has ignored for too long. He begins visiting the company offices without notice, not the executive floors, but the lower ones. Customer support, logistics, night security. He listens more than he speaks. He notices how often people apologize for things that are not their fault, how often they brace themselves before answering a question, how kindness changes when power is removed from the room. At night, he thinks of Emily, not as an image, as a standard. He remembers her calm voice with the rude customer, the way she never asked for more than enough, the way she believed character showed up in small, unobserved moments. So he begins to build something that reflects that belief, not in her name, not for her attention, for the people who never get tested, because no one ever looks down far enough to notice them. Within weeks, a new internal program quietly launches. Flexible scheduling for hourly workers, emergency assistance for employees facing sudden financial strain, training funds that do not require a polished application or perfect language, No press, no cameras. When asked why, he answers simply, because people deserve dignity without having to earn it. Emily hears about it by accident. A coworker mentions it during a break, scrolling through an internal memo on her phone. Emily listens without comment, stirring her coffee slowly. She does not assume it is about her. She does not want it to be. Days later, a letter arrives at the store, not addressed to her, addressed to the manager. It explains the new support programs and includes a simple note at the bottom, written in careful, unadorned language. This is not charity, this is correction. Emily reads it once, then again. She does not feel relief. She feels something closer to recognition. Weeks pass. One evening, she finishes her shift and steps outside into cool air. Across the street, a small community center glows softly through its windows. A new sign hangs above the door, modest and unpolished. She recognizes the name of the program sponsoring it. Inside, volunteers sort food boxes. No cameras, no banners, just work. Emily stands there for a long moment, then crosses the street. She offers to help. No one asks her who she is. No one asks her why she is there. She rolls up her sleeves and joins in. An hour later, she notices him, not standing apart, not directing, carrying boxes. They do not speak at first. They work side by side, quietly, the way people do when words would only complicate things. Finally, he breaks the silence. "I did not know you came here." "I did not know you did either," she replies. He nods. "I did not come looking for you." "I know," she says. They keep working. After a while, she says, "This matters." "Yes," he answers. "It does." She looks at him then, really looks, not as a cashier, not as a test subject, as an equal. "I am not ready," she says honestly. "I am not asking you to be," he replies. That answer matters more than anything else he could have said. For the first time since the truth came out, the space between them feels like space that can be crossed. Not rushed, not forced, but respected. And that, she realizes, is where trust begins again. Time does not rush them. It moves the way it always does, quietly, steadily, allowing space for things to settle into their proper shape. Weeks turn into months. Emily continues working at the store, though fewer hours now. She takes a class at the community center twice a week, something practical, something she chose for herself. She still volunteers on weekends, not because of him, but because the work feels honest. He continues to show up as well, not as a guest of honor, not as a name on a wall, as a pair of hands. They see each other there sometimes they do not. When they do, they talk. When they do not, neither wonders why. Trust rebuilds slowly, not through promises, but through consistency. One evening, after a long shift at the center, Emily sits on the steps outside, stretching her sore legs. The city hums around her, distant and indifferent. He steps out a moment later and sits a few feet away, leaving space between them. "You know," she says, looking ahead, "I used to think people like you lived in a different world." "I did too," he replies. "I thought it was safer there." She smiles faintly. "Turns out it was smaller." He nods. "Much smaller." They sit in silence for a while. Then he speaks again. "I want to be clear about something." She turns to him. "I am not asking for a second chance," he says. "I am asking for the chance to keep choosing honesty, whether or not it leads anywhere." She studies his face. There is no urgency there, no expectation, just openness. "That matters," she says. She takes a breath, then adds, "I cannot pretend the past did not happen, but I can see the difference between someone who is sorry and someone who is changed." He does not respond right away. He lets the moment be what it is. Months later, the community center holds a small anniversary event. Nothing formal. Folding chairs, homemade food, children running between tables. Emily stands near the back, laughing with a volunteer, when she hears her name. She turns. He is there, holding something small in his hand. Not a ring, a folded receipt, the same kind she has handed him 100 times before. "I kept it," he says, almost embarrassed. "The first night you treated me like I was just someone who needed help finding breakfast." She laughs softly. "You were terrible at choosing cereal." "I still am," he admits, "but I am better at choosing people." She looks at him for a long moment. Then she takes the receipt from his hand. "This," she says, only matters if it stays true. It will, he says, every day. She nods. Later that night, as the lights dim and people begin to leave, they walk out together into the cool air. No headlines, no cameras, just two people side by side. He does not lead, she does not follow. They walk at the same pace, and as they disappear down the street, the truth settles gently into place. Love was never about status. It was never about testing or proving or pretending. It was about seeing someone clearly, choosing honesty over fear, and understanding that real leadership, like real love, begins the moment you stop hiding who you are. And this time, neither of them is lost.